House. After an earthquake election, few expect as protesters take to the streets in uproar.
Not my president!
What will Donald Trump's America and his White House potential cabinet pick, Rudy Giuliani, will be here. Plus, immigration.
There will be no amnesty.
And of course,
We will build a great wall.
but he seems to be backing off some of his signature lines. What will really get done?
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. These have been
Plus, may be divided, but the government in Washington, D.C. is not. Republicans now control the U.S. House, the U.S. Senate, and soon the White House. So what is on the Trump agenda, and how quickly can it get done? Joining me in moving forward, I'm just wondering, there are millions of Americans out there, as I'm sure you know, who are frankly terrified about what this America under President Trump will mean for them. Is there anything that you, as
First of all, I hate it that people feel this way. And second of all, they should know big country's problems, getting this economy growing, fixing our national security, talking about. So I think to have.
But just to accept and acknowledge that there are these incidents taking place all over the country.
Well, yeah, first, yeah, your lead in there. And I'm confident Donald Trump feels the same way. So there's no place for that. And protests, as long as protests are peaceful, if people want to express themselves that way, that's what we can do in this country. That's what the First Amendment's all about.
Let's move forward to some of the action items. Obviously, repealing and replacing Obamacare is one of the big items that President-elect Trump and you want to tackle. President-elect Trump recently said there are elements of Obamacare he wants to keep. This is what he had to say to 60 Minutes. Take a listen.
Let me ask you about Obamacare, which you say you're going to repeal and replace. When you replace it, are you going to make sure that people with preconditions are still covered?
Yes, because it happens to be one of the strongest assets.
Now, your Better Way agenda talks about spending $25 billion on high-risk pools that would help those with pre-existing conditions afford insurance. Where would that $25 billion come from?
Well, we actually have it paid for in our bill. You really want me to give you a technical answer to this? It's a little technical. The point is we have in our plan pay for doing that. Here's the bigger point, Jake. We agree. It's in our plan. Donald Trump agrees with this. We need to have a solution for people with pre-existing conditions. In our plan is also allowing younger people up to the age of 26 to stay in their parents' plans. So there are aspects that we've all along agreed to.
Under Obamacare, as you know, millions...
What I encourage people to do is go to better.gop. It's number 5 on our plan. We put the most detail out of anybody that's put out an Obamacare replacement plan. And it is to have an answer for everyone with pre-existing conditions, people who are the uninsured. The point I would say is this, Jake. We can have a healthcare system in America where everyone, regardless of income or health condition, can get affordable health insurance. Care. This is what we propose. We think a patient-centered system is the right way to do that, and you can have this system without a costly government takeover like Obamacare that is cranking up premiums, that is making deductibles so high, it doesn't even feel like you have health insurance. Obamacare is failing. We're going to do that. We're excited about it. And the point I would put people's minds at ease is we can fix these problems.
Is providing government-paid health insurance to individuals. I mean, that's what it does. So the Medicaid expansion or
buy affordable health care insurance. So the kinds of reforms that we're talking about, the cost of the insurance itself, and then a person would have, such as our proposal calls for, a refundable tax credit, like a voucher to go buy health insurance that is much cheaper, much more affordable, and more importantly, you get to buy what you want to buy, not what the government's making you buy.
Obamacare also provides birth control to women at no cost. Is that going to end, or will that remain?
Look, I'm not going to get into all the little nitty-gritty details of these things.
With all due respect, I don't know that the average woman of childbearing years out there who relies upon contraception provided by health insurance mandated by the Affordable Care Act, I don't know that she would think that that's just a nitty-gritty detail.
You're asking me detail.
Well, what do you think? Is it important to you?
About legislation. You're asking me details about legislation that hasn't been written yet.
Right,
so
but is it important to you? Would that be a principle? Would that be a principle of whatever replaces it?
I'm not going to get into hypotheticals about legislation that hasn't even been drafted yet.
Let me ask you a question about improving security at the border. You and Donald Trump both agree you want to improve security at the border. You obviously have different views when it comes to the 10 to 11 million undocumented immigrants currently living in the United States. This is what you had to say back in April during a town hall at Georgetown University.
I'm a person who believes that for the undocumented, we have to come up with a solution that doesn't involve mass deportations, that involves giving people the ability to get right with the law, to come and earn a legal status while we fix the rest of legal immigration.
Now take a listen to what President-elect Trump said on Morning Joe last year.
You're going to have a deportation force, and you're going to do it humanely.
How are you going to pay for this?
It's very inexpensive.
Are they going to be ripped out of their homes?
Can I tell you? They're going back where they came. If they came from a certain country, they're going to be brought back to that country. That's the way it's supposed to be.
So Congress writes the laws and controls the purse strings. Is there going to be mass deportation or not? And this isn't just a nitty-gritty detail. There are millions of people who are very worried about this.
Sure. Sure, and I think we should put people's minds at ease. That is not what our focus is. That is not what we're focused on. We're focused on securing the border. We think that's first and foremost, before we get into any other immigration issue, we got to know who's coming and going in the country. We've got to secure the border. So we believe an enforcement bill, a border security enforcement bill, is really the first priority, and that's what we're focused on.
Okay, so it's not a top priority, mass deportation, but obviously President-elect Trump thinks it is.
No, securing the border is our Securing the border is our top priority.
Right, but what about in year 2, year 3, year 4?
That's why I'm saying we're not focused on. No, we are not planning on erecting a deportation force. Donald Trump's not planning on that.
Well, let me ask you, does the fact that impact in any way your sense of mandate or how far you should be willing to go, considering that the woman who lost actually got more votes?
I'd say two things. Look at the expectations going into this. Look at what all the public polling said. Look at what all the prognosticators were saying, like the day of the election. He beat all the odds. Look, what I think people need to stop doing is stop underestimating Donald Trump. A lot of us did that. Very much of the mindset that there is a need to unify this country, to heal the division in this country, but also there's a mandate and the solutions out. So we all laid out very concrete solutions for why we need to get this country back on track. We're now going to implement those solutions, and we think this is good. We think this is going to help people get out of poverty. We think this is going to grow the economy, make our country more secure, make our border secure, help the military go on offense against ISIS that is strangling small businesses so they can hire people again. These are good things that we have in store that we're really excited about getting to work on doing for the American people.
One of the things that you don't mention, and I can certainly understand why, when you talk about the path forward with President-elect Trump, is one of the biggest differences between yourself and Donald Trump policy-wise having to do with the issue of trade. In his contract with the American voter, he promised in his first 100 days to establish tariffs to discourage companies from laying off workers. Will you pass those tariffs in your first 100 days?
Well, I think there's a better way of dealing with that particular issue. And if you go to number 6 on our Better Way agenda and look at the tax reform, this is something that Donald also talked about during the campaign. which is to fix our taxes on border adjustments, which we believe is a smarter way, which is what all the other countries do, which is not tariffs, not trade wars. So we think there are better ways of dealing with making American products and workers more competitive, and really it's fixing our tax code.
Throughout the campaign, as you know, President-elect Trump talked about tariffs. It could be as high as 35%, 45%. If he comes to you and says, this is what we're doing, what are you going to say?
The point I'm trying to make is I think we can achieve what he's trying to make America more competitive. He's trying to make the American worker more competitive. He's trying to make it so that American businesses stay in America. And we believe the smartest and best way to do that is comprehensive tax reform, which actually makes America much more competitive without any adverse effects, without any collateral damage to the economy.
A minute ago, you were talking about how Donald Trump, the president-elect, expressed concern to you. He wanted to, or expressed his desire to you that he wanted to unify the country. On that note, I want to turn to staffing the Trump White House. A lot of people, including many conservatives, are concerned that Steve Bannon, who is the CEO of the Trump campaign and the chief executive of Breitbart News, that he used Breitbart News to, in their view, the view of conservatives, the view of Republicans, to mainstream white supremacist views, anti-Semitic views, racist views. Do you have any concerns about Steve Bannon being in the White House?
No, I don't have. I've never met the guy. I don't know Steve Bannon, so I have no concerns. I trust Donald's judgment. I think he's going to pick who he thinks will best serve him, and I'm sure we will work well with whoever his chief of staff is, whoever his staff is. So I believe that Donald is going to have a great set of choices to make for staffing. I'm also very encouraged by the fact that my friend, a great conservative, a man who has shown he's a true leader, Mike Pence, is going to be running the transition team. So I think between Pence running the transition team, look, Donald is a multi-billionaire who's had lots of companies, who has run extremely successful businesses. So he's done things like this before. He's staffed up. He's run major organizations. He's a successful person. He surrounds himself with successful people. So I'm confident he's going to do the same here.
You sound very optimistic and positive about him, but during the campaign, you said that one of the things he said about Judge Curiel fit the of racism.
I'm not going to relitigate the past. I'm looking for the future. And what I mean when I say Medicare law, that is really hurting families, putting healthcare providers out of business, and replacing with patient-centered healthcare. Informational. That's positive. That's good.
The pride of Janesville, House Speaker Paul Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Jake. Take care.